Hello there, and welcome to episode 22 of the Or So She Says podcast. So, this is the podcast where we break down fitness, nutrition, mindset, yoga, meditation, energy healing, all in a way that actually makes sense and gives you a bit of a laugh along the way. So, if this is your first time here, my name is Narissa Shea. I am a personal trainer, nutritionist, sport and exercise psychology consultant, yoga instructor, Reiki practitioner, and a professional Irish dancer. So today we are tackling a huge topic. So apologies in advance if this episode isn't as snappy and to the point as the last episode. But we are discussing body image. And not only that, but I'm also going to ask you to explore this topic from two different perspectives. So firstly, we shall deep dive into the hardcore science pertaining to body image, what it is, what influences it, and strategies to help navigate days where body image is pretty much in the shitter. But I am also going to ask you to take a look at it from a more spiritual, energetic lens closer to the end of the episode, okay? So that's where this episode will differ to others you may have heard discussing this topic. So I highly recommend listening to the end. If you like this episode, please share it on your story, share it with friends, share it with family. I think this is going to be a really beneficial episode for people. I put a poll up on my Instagram the other day, and this seems to be the topic that most people wanted to talk about. So here it is. So I really appreciate when you share on your stories, share with people, because it is very hard to get the word out, and I think this is a very important topic. So I'm going to begin today by firstly actually discussing the physical body. Now, the following is all excerpts from my book that I am currently, I'll say, rewriting. I wrote it last year and I've decided to revisit it again because I was like, that should change my perspective on a few things. But the book is actually broken down into 3 sections, and they're all based off the method that I've devised, known as the ESP method. So this is the method I use in my coaching. It's what I use in my energy healing. It's what I use in my yoga teaching. I use it in everything, basically, okay? So what does it stand for? The E stands for empowered mind. So transform and master your mindset. Strong body is strengthen and nourish your body. And powerful soul is ignite and align your soul. So the reason why I'm talking about this at the start of today, before we actually jump into body image issues, is I often notice people discussing physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health as separate entities, as individual aspects of a person's health that should be treated irrespective of the others. Now, everything is linked, and the human body, mind, and soul are no different, and we should treat it as such. So, say if someone is worried about their mental health, then disregarding the needs of the physical body is not the way to go. Like, you need to look after your vessel, not for aesthetics, but for life and vitality, okay? Because let's call a spade a spade. It's very hard to have impeccable mental health if you are pumping your body full of shit food and you're not moving your body regularly. And the reason why I'm bringing this up with regards to a body image episode is a lot of people who are struggling with body image, not everyone, but the first step is actually usually to take a look at how are you actually treating your body. Because I love that quote from Kristen Neff. She's like, you wouldn't let your child eat 5 tubs of ice cream because you love them. So why are you letting yourself? So usually the first thing we need to address when it comes to body image is how are you actually treating your body? Like, you out on the stage every weekend putting shit into your body and then being like, I can't understand why I'm not looking at you in the mirror and loving you. Like, that is usually the first step. It's like our first protocol. How are we actually treating ourselves? Okay. Because the thing is, body image is actually not just a body thing either. Like, it is a whole person thing. And this is why I think it's really important to address the needs of the physical body before we jump in to talking about the more psychological aspects of body image, okay? Because in the West, most people view this body as this thing, okay? Like a machine of sorts that needs to be fueled and requires exercise in the hopes that this will stop it from going awry. Usually when something does go wrong with our machine, we often look for it to be mechanically cured. So cut off or eliminated with drugs. Now, don't get me wrong, this often does work miracles, but this approach does not always work. And the reason is it does not always get to the root of the problem. Okay? And a lot of the time, physical ailments and diseases can all be tied back to thought patterns and energetic blocks. So if you are not into the woo-woo side of things, that's absolutely fine. I want you to go and Google psychoneuroimmunology, okay? And then I'm just going to do a mic drop right there because that's the science of it. It is literally the study of how your immune system and your central nervous system interact with one another, okay? And one of the biggest contributing factors to most diseases and stuff like that is stress. What does stress come from? Yes, it comes from external events, but also you can have two people living very similar lives and have to deal with the same amount of stress, but their ability to handle that stress is completely different, and thus their stress levels are different, and this is going to completely change their lives. Okay, now I could do a whole podcast on this topic. Maybe I will, because it's really, really interesting. But the moral of the story is that we can no longer look at what is going on in the mind and disregard what is happening in the body, and vice versa. So how does this tie into body image? We can't just think what is going on with body image is a mental thing. It is predominantly seen as a mental thing, but that doesn't mean that it is just a mental thing, okay? I love this quote from Louise Hay. I've quoted her so many times, but I'm going to do it again, okay? For us to become whole and healthy, we must balance the body, mind, and spirit. We need to take good care of our bodies. We need to have a positive mental attitude about ourselves and about our life. And we need to have a strong spiritual connection. When these three things are balanced, we rejoice in living. No doctor or health practitioner can give us this unless we choose to take part in our healing process. So I think that's really, really powerful because she basically hits the nail on the head saying, when you're approaching anything in life, you have to approach it from all of these avenues, okay? So let's get into discussing body image specifically, especially with regards to the science and stuff like that, because I know I've got a lot of hardcore science people listening to this, but I've also got a lot of people that are interested in the more woo-woo side of this. And I think it's really interesting to look at this from both perspectives, merge them together, and then treat it as a whole, okay? So what is body image, okay? Body image is more than just how we see ourselves in the mirror. It refers to a person's perceptions, thoughts, and feelings about their physical appearance. So it actually encompasses 4 different elements, okay? So firstly, you have what's called your perceptual body image, and this is how you visually perceive your body, the size, the shape, the weight, okay? Then you have what's called affective body image, and this is how you feel about your body, and this can usually include satisfaction or dissatisfaction, okay? Then we have cognitive body image, and this is the thoughts and beliefs you have about your body. And then lastly, we have behavioural body image, and this is the actions you take related to your body image, such as diet, exercise, and grooming behaviours. How you act because of those beliefs is what comes into play here, okay? Do you diet obsessively? Do you avoid mirrors? Do you cover up in layers even when it's like 25 degrees out, which in Ireland is like the hottest summer day ever, okay? These are all encompassed in body image. It's not just, I feel like shit today, I have bad body image. No, like it's like, okay, how are you visually perceiving yourself today? How do you feel about yourself today? Like, what are the thoughts and beliefs you actually have about your body, and what actions are you carrying out in relation to all of that? So it is worth pointing out that body image can vary significantly among individuals and is influenced by numerous factors, okay? The first one, the biggest one, being media influence, okay? This is huge. And as someone who grew up in the 90s when heroin chic was the vibe, and I know there's young people listening to this who are like, what the hell is that? Look it up on Google. Like, heroin chic was like Kate Moss kind of fashionable body type back in the day. And now we didn't have phones and TikTok and social media and all these things telling us how to look, but we did religiously buy and read magazines. And the people who were all over the front of these were the likes of Kate Moss and people who were stick thin, okay? And heroin chic was what it was called. So, as a 152 centimeter tall woman with an arse and hips, I was never going to attain this body type. But it didn't stop me from trying all the same. Like, I hated my curves growing up as a teenager. I hated them. And then fast forward 20 years, and now thanks to the Kardashians, like having hips and like curves and stuff like that is now the fashionable body type. The irony is I never really longer give a fuck, but that aside, okay? And now you have like people wanting to get arse implants and all of these things and liposuction and things injected into their arse, and then all of these things on their face and lip fillers and Botox and all of these things. Like, if you didn't have a phone and you weren't seeing this online, would this actually cross your mind that you wanted to do this to your body? Like, we have to realize the impact media has on what we think we need in order to look beautiful, okay? Like, back years and years ago, although it was very bad, you might buy one gossip magazine a week and that'd be what you see. Today, we're being bombarded by like fitness influencers and celebrities on social media setting these unrealistic beauty standards. And younger men and women are seeing this. And it is really, really crazy to think, like, with a developing brain, how much that is impacting what they view as being perceived as beautiful. Now, I do think there's a big movement towards self-love and body acceptance. I do think there is such an uprising in that, but it does not negate the fact you are seeing teenage girls going and looking to get Botox and lip fillers. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm not against these things if it makes someone feel good. Like, I love getting my hair done. Now, clearly, I haven't got my hair done in so long. I'm nearly back to my natural colour at this stage. But yeah, I love getting my nails done and having my hair done and my lashes done and things like that. Like, I do love these. So I'm not taking away from the fact that these can make you feel really, really good. But these are what I would consider temporary things. Like, the lashes fall off, the nails grow out, and your hair essentially grows out as well. Like, a lot of the things people are going for now these days are irreversible, or something when they start getting them, they can't stop getting them. Like, and I think getting lip fillers and Botox at like 17 and stuff like that is just wild. Like, I'm not going to get into a topic about Botox because I've had this conversation with so many people and so many of my friends that love Botox. So I won't cast judgment on it. Me personally, and I'm not just saying this because I have good skin or whatever, and maybe it's because I've always looked quite young and maybe that's playing a part in it. But I think there's something so beautiful about people who allow themselves to age gracefully. We have this horrible notion of getting old in Western society, but actually it's something that's revered in other cultures, which brings me on to the next thing. Cultural and societal standards. Like, different cultures have varying ideals of beauty, which can influence body image. So the most fucked up thing that pops into my mind when I think of this is when I consider the fact that most of us over here in the West are plastering ourselves in fake tan. Like, I'm guilty of this. Love the fucking glow. Or paying money to lie on cancer fueling machines, some meds, to achieve like that bronze goddess vibe. And meanwhile, on the other side of the world, those who with like naturally tanned skin, or like have the ability to tan probably in one day, are bleaching their skin to be paler, like, or avoiding the sun because they don't want the tan. Like, this is literally how fucked up like our society is. Like, here is this thing that's really hard for you to attain, so you should want this. And on the other side of the world, this is really easy for you to attain, you should probably want the opposite. Like, bizarre. It's bizarre. Like, so interpersonal relationships is another thing. Like, feedbacks and comments from family, friends, and peers can really shape your body image, like either positively or negatively. And this one really resonates hard with me because, like, especially like more, no shade on the country folk or anything, but like down the country or older relatives and stuff like that, like, you know, I vividly recall family members passing comments on how great so-and-so looks because they lost loads of weight, or how so-and-so has piled on the weight, with like little to no fucks given about the reason behind why this person may have experienced such a drastic body composition change. Like, the poor person could be chronically ill, but like, hey, at least they look great. They're so slim. Like, just no, like this has to stop. Commenting on people's body types, like what I like to say to people is, they're like, oh my God, you look great. It's like, oh my God, you look really happy. Like, you look like you're glowing, and you look, joyful. These are lovely compliments to say to people. And this is actually something I've experienced a lot since getting pregnant. And I know people don't mean any shade on it. Like, it's actually been like compliments. So boosting my head is people like, oh my God, you're so neat. You're literally just a bump, and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like secretly loving it. And I'm like, oh my God, you are actually basking in this. Like, because it's helping me deal with my own body image issues I'm going with at the moment. But actually, someone telling me that I'm just bump, like, and very neat, like, what does that actually do on a very, very deep soul level? Is reaffirm to me societal standards of that idea of bouncing back after pregnancy. Like, it's wild. So the last thing then as well is personal experiences, like, so your past experiences, and this can include trauma or significant life events. Like, these can play a huge, huge, huge role on body image. And a lot of this actually can be tied to our need to self-soothe in order to deal with difficult emotions. So I'm not going to go too far into emotional eating because I could do a whole podcast on this, but something that I talk about actually in one of the lectures in the upcoming course that I'm launching is we do a whole lecture on emotional eating, because people are like, I binged just the weekend, and I'm like, okay, well, firstly, we need to categorize three things, right? There is a difference between binge eating disorder, emotional eating, and comfort eating. Comfort eating is when you're sick and your mom makes that lovely soup and brown bread and it makes you just feel good, like comfort food. There's nothing wrong with comfort food, okay? Emotional eating is eating in response to a difficult emotion, okay? Is the easiest way I can put it. It's a way of self-soothing when we don't want to deal with a difficult emotion, okay? And it is so common, and so many people use this as a self-soothing tool. Like, some people over exercise. Hi, that's me, guilty. Don't want to feel my feelings, so I'm going to go to the gym. Some people will eat, right? Some people completely lose their appetite if something traumatic happens. Like, we all have very, very, very deeply ingrained emotional responses to difficult emotions, okay? And our ability to actually sit with the emotions and increase our window of tolerance is how you actually can confront emotional eating and actually work towards a better relationship with food. And then binge eating is actually something completely different. The main factors to consider when you think of binge eating is there is a complete loss of control. That person actually feels like they have no control over the situation, and binge eating is not something that a personal trainer or even like someone who's done their nutrition qualification like me can actually help you with. You have to go and seek actual medical intervention for binge eating disorder, okay? So going to your doctor, therapy, things like that. So psychological factors, okay, is another thing leading into this. Mental health conditions such as depression or anxiety can greatly affect body image perception along with overall life perceptions, okay? Now, I personally have never had to take antidepressants, but I know a lot of people who do. I've had clients who have actually, a few clients who, by the time we finished working together, came off their antidepressants, which is amazing because it shows the impact of, exercise, diet, all of these things on your mental health. Once again, proving that all of this is linked. But the thing about it is although people will state that it does reduce feelings of sadness, okay, what comes along with that is usually a lack of feeling the full extent of the highs also. So it makes sense that this is also going to impact one's perception of themselves and the world. Now, this is not me saying, oh my God, go off your antidepressants or go off your anti-anxiety medication. That's not what I'm saying at all. Like, okay. We just need to understand the mechanisms of how these work and understand that, yes, it can reduce the feelings of sadness, but with that, is it actually dampening the feelings of happiness, or is it keeping you at that kind of middle ground? In which case, you have to realize if that's affecting your mind, it's affecting your body, it's affecting your behaviors. Of course, it's going to affect your perception of yourself. Okay. And the last thing I'll talk about, which actually is just, we all need to understand this, because when I understood the menstrual cycle, I was like, oh my God, everything makes sense. Like, the menstrual cycle significantly affects a woman's body image, okay, due to the hormonal fluctuations that influence mood, energy levels, and physical sensations, okay? I'm not going to go into full detail of this because I've recorded a podcast about this before and I will link it in the description below. But to keep things very simple, let's talk about the phases of the menstrual cycle and how their effects can actually impact potentially having a positive or negative body image, okay? So your menstrual phase, days 1 to approximately 5. You have low levels of estrogen and progesterone. Women may experience fatigue, bloating, and discomfort, which potentially could lead to a negative body image. Then we're in that follicular phase, which is like, I like to call it the superhero phase. So this is when estrogen is dominant, it is increasing, energy levels are rising, and many women report feeling more positive about their bodies during this phase of their cycle. So they experience more of that, look at me, I'm looking saucy kind of energy, or usually people feel a lot leaner in this time as well, and things like feeling really strong in the gym, needing probably less sleep, their ability to handle stress is higher. It's just great times, really. And then you have ovulation, which is usually in and around day 14, and this is your peak levels of estrogen, okay? So this is usually where women feel most attractive and have a high self-esteem. Now, from an evolutionary standpoint, it makes sense because this is when your body wants you to reproduce. So it's like, yeah, oozing all of the sex appeal around this time. And then boom, we enter the luteal phase, which is usually around days 15 to 28, in and around these days, okay? And this is where we experience progesterone dominance. So with this increased progesterone, many women will experience premenstrual symptoms such as bloating, breast tenderness, mood swings, water retention, all of these things. And this can negatively impact body image. Also, you're usually heavier on the scales around this time because of the water retention too. So then people who are obsessed with the scales usually think around this time that they've completely fucked their diet because they're just completely basing things on the scales, which I'm not going to get into today because that was the last podcast, and I will link that again, the difference between weight loss and fat loss. If you're someone who is still fixated on the scales, I highly recommend listening to that. So this is a really, really cool example of how your body image changes throughout the month, okay? So I took a photo of myself in the throes of my luteal phase, and I was like, I look awful. Like, even my stretchy leggings felt tight. I just felt rotten, and I looked at the photo and I was like, God, I look like shit. And then we actually looked at this exact same photo like 2 weeks later when I was in my follicular phase and thought, like, what was I actually moaning about? I actually look grand. Like, so this is proof that it isn't actually even the physical impact of the hormones on like water retention and stuff like that. It is actually, again, coming back to it, how you are perceiving yourself on that day. Because that is the exact same photo that I looked at of myself on 2 different occasions and thought something completely different. So your mood hugely dictates your body image, okay? So a study by Davison and McCabe found the body image dissatisfaction can fluctuate across the menstrual cycle, with the lowest levels of satisfaction often occurring during the menstrual and luteal phases due to physical symptoms and mood changes, okay? Now, one thing I'm going to touch on, just because it's important to kind of realize what it is body dysmorphic disorder. And this is actually a mental health condition where a person is excessively preoccupied with perceived flaws in their appearance and are often minor or not observable to others, but BDD can lead to severe emotional distress and impaired daily functioning. So some characteristics of BDD would be preoccupation with appearance, like they have persistent and intrusive thoughts about perceived physical defects. So that's not just, oh, I look like shit today, and then the next day, oh, I actually look a little bit better. Like these are persistent and they are intrusive and they do not stop. And this usually leads to like compulsive behaviors. So like repetitive behaviors such as mirror checking, excessive grooming, or like constantly seeking reassurance from people. And the other thing can be they avoid social situations or completely avoid photos due to like their self-consciousness. So individuals with BDD typically have a highly distorted body image and often cannot be reassured about their appearance. So this condition can lead to severe mental health issues, and this usually includes depression and anxiety. Now, this is not something that one deals with just by taking some practical steps. Yes, these practical steps I'm going to outline will help, okay? But if you're someone who knows someone, or you are someone who thinks that you could potentially have BDD, this is something you really need to go and speak to your doctor about. And it's the same as binge eating, okay? We're talking about body image today, not body dysmorphic disorder. And just like I said, emotional eating is not binge eating, okay? So if it's BDD or it is binge eating, these are things you actually need to go and seek medical advice for medical help. They are not within a personal trainer's scope of practice, okay? So it's worth pointing out, okay, everyone has bad body image days. Like, this is just a normal thing. Like, I've worked on this a lot. Like, I worked as a dancer. I had terrible body image, and I've been doing so much work on that over the years. And then I got pregnant, and now this is a whole new ball game. So, like, there are days when I feel like, ugh. And then I have days where I'm like, oh no, I actually look pretty good today, okay? And it's up and down and it fluctuates, okay? But the thing I love to bring it back to is the importance of having tools in the toolbox there to deal with the days where you know it's shit, that you don't let it completely ruin your day. So, say for example, last week, this little bundle of joy had a massive growth spurt, like huge growth spurt last week, which now when I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I'm so excited. But what I didn't prepare myself for was being in the shower and looking down and realizing, like, because of this big growth spurt, like I had so many like really red stretch marks on both sides of my body, like so red, to the point like it was crazy how quick it happened, because the hot water was actually hurting them a little bit. It was like it was an open wound nearly. I was like, oh my God. And I looked down, they were so red, and I freaked, and I was like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I ran down to Aiden, and I was like, what are these? And he was like, it's fine. And then like my friend was just like, Narissa, you're 5 foot and you've literally had fucking abs like your whole life. Like, what do you expect? And I was just like, okay. And it's funny then, because I'm so irrational at the nighttime, and then I'm so much more logical in the mornings and calm. And then the next morning I woke up and I literally was just like, oh my God, like that's how much like society is in my head. People talking about, I'm pregnant and I have no stretch marks. I'm pregnant and I bounce back in 6 weeks, and all of these things that should not be the predominant focus of what people are talking about when people are pregnant. Like, you're growing a human. Like, the weight gain during pregnancy and how quick you bounce back after, and stretch marks on your skin from your body's ability to grow a fucking human inside you, should not be what people are talking about. Like, the amount of people who came up to me and they were like, oh, you'll bounce back really quick because it's your first kid and you've always been so active and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, how is this the first thing that you're saying to me? Like, what? How about well done on growing a human? That's not easy. Anyway, that's been my current issues with body image, which is just so funny because, you know, you think you cross a hurdle, which I did with the dancing and stuff like that, and then you enter into the world of fitness and you deal with more body image stuff then, and then you get pregnant, and it's just new level, new devil. But at the same time, the difference between now and way back then is I have the tools in the toolbox to know that a bad body image day doesn't need to impact my entire life. And also I know to question it, which is the most important thing. Because then when I questioned it the next day, I was like, this is actually ridiculous. Like, if we were here hundreds of years ago and no one even knew about stretch marks or anything, like, would I have even batted an eyelid at that? No, that comes back to societal conditioning again. So let's talk about some practical tips to help, okay? One of the first things is somatic therapy. So somatic therapy focuses on the connection between the mind and the body, and it has been shown to significantly impact body image. So the therapy involves techniques such as body awareness, mindful movement, breath work, and sensory awareness to improve the way individuals perceive and feel about their bodies. So somatic movement can be a powerful tool for improving body image by deepening self-awareness, reducing tension, and fostering a sense of connection with your body. So here are actually some specific exercises designed to enhance body appreciation, self-compassion, and embodiment, okay? The first is a body scan, but with gratitude. So you literally lie down, sit comfortably, whatever your preferred position, close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, and start scanning through your body, starting from your toes, working all the way up to your head. You've probably done a body scan before, but now as you focus on each part of your body, express gratitude. Thank you, legs, for carrying me through each day. Thank you, hands, for allowing me to do all of the things that I did today with my hands, cook, bake, hold my children. So this actually helps shift the focus from the appearance to the function, which is going to foster appreciation for your body. Another thing is gentle self-hug and rocking. Okay, wrap your arms around yourself in a hug and rock side to side or in small circles and take deep breaths while you're doing this, okay? This encourages self-compassion and promotes a sense of safety in your body. Like, how nice is it when someone else gives you a hug? So give yourself a hug. The other one is mirror movement exploration. So you stand in front of a mirror and you move slowly. You stretch, you sway, you roll your shoulders, or you dance freely. And instead of focusing on how you look, focus on how you feel in the movement. This encourages non-judgmental observations of your body, which is going to reduce self-criticism. Breath and expansion exercise. So you place one hand on your belly and the other on your chest. You inhale deeply, expand your ribs and belly, and then exhale slowly. And you imagine your breath filling your entire body with warmth and ease. And this can help connect with your body in a positive and nurturing way. Again, we're trying to take the focus off the external and bring it to the internal. So if you're someone who likes a good walk or doesn't like doing all these things in the house and would rather just get outside, slow, mindful walking. So walking really, really slowly, paying such close attention to like each footstep. Notice how your weight shifts, how your arms move, how your body feels as it moves. Like focus on every step you're taking, the foot rolling through that whole plane of movement, and noticing again, instead of looking outside or looking at your phone or listening to a podcast, like, how is your body feeling in this movement? This enhances presence and appreciation for your body's movement, again, rather than its appearance. So loving kindness gesture, okay? So you're going to place one or both hands on your heart, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and silently say something to yourself like, I am enough. My body is worthy of love. All of these things like mantras and stuff like that, they do work. Even though I know a lot of people do not like mantras, they do work because words hold energy and that is power. And I'll talk a little bit more about this when I talk about energy and chakras and stuff at the end. But this can help cultivate self-acceptance and a positive body image. So another thing is free-form somatic dance. So put on your favorite music, maybe some slow, soothing music or something with a bit of rhythm, and you let your body move intuitively. So something I love to do in my yoga classes is get my clients or my students to shake, 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 or big swing with the arms up, big swing with the arms down, shake it off, okay? You can sway, shake, get into the hips. Like I was at a pregnancy yoga class last week and she was getting us to wag our tails and it actually just felt great. Like, so this releases tension and it reconnects you with your body's natural joy in movement. Again, shifting the focus away from appearance and more to sensation. So another thing is self-touch and sensory awareness. So gently rub or tap different parts of your body, like your arms, your legs, your shoulders. Notice these sensations, the warmth, the tingling, the relaxation, and let this be an act of care rather than critique. You're not looking at your arm going, oh my God, I'm slapping my arm and my bingo wings. You're not. You're just like, what does this feel like when I'm tapping it? Okay. This can strengthen a compassionate, nurturing relationship with your body. So these exercises can help shift body image from being externally focused, appearance, to internally focused, which is sensation, function, and appreciation. So I can't not talk about yoga when we're talking about body image. Again, you could class yoga as somatic practice, okay? The relationship between yoga practice and body image, there has actually been a lot of studies on this, okay? And researchers have found that yoga, which integrates physical postures, breath control, and mindfulness, are associated with greater body satisfaction and lower levels of self-objectification. So participants who practice yoga reported feeling more connected and compassionate towards their bodies. The embodiment experience provided by yoga helps practitioners appreciate their body's functionality and strength and thereby improving body image. So essentially, again, it promotes body awareness. It also promotes mindfulness and it can help individuals focus on, once again, what are we doing? Internal sensations rather than external appearance. And this shift in focus can actually reduce the emphasis on societal beauty standards and enhance self-acceptance. So there's a couple of other things that you can do on a more practical level, as opposed to just the somatic movements and actually moving your body and trying to get in touch with your body. You can also do things like journaling, okay? And this can really help process emotions, reframe negative thoughts, and foster self-compassion. So a couple of examples are gratitude for my body. What are 5 things my body allows me to do that I appreciate? Reframing negative thoughts. What's one critical thought I have about my body and how can I reframe it with kindness? Inner child connection. What would I say to my younger self about their body? Describing my body with neutrality. If I describe my body as if I were describing a tree, how would I do it? Or a lovely one to do is write yourself a love letter to your body. Write a letter thanking your body for everything it has carried you through. So another thing that's really important to consider is mindful eating with regards to body connection. So mindful eating is eating without distractions, focusing on the textures, the flavors, hunger cues, and tuning into how different food actually makes you feel rather than how they might affect your appearance. So we're not just thinking about the calories. It's like, how does this food actually make me feel? Like ramen for me, oh my God, it just makes my heart really happy and my tummy really happy when I eat it. And this is shifting the focus from like dieting to actually nourishment and self-care. Another thing you can do is a bloody social media detox, okay? Or at least curate your feed. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about your body. Follow creators who promote body neutrality, diversity, and self-acceptance, and limit your screen time and engage in real life activities that bring you joy. Like the biggest piece of advice I'll give here is like if there's someone online that really triggers you, why are you looking at it? Like people are crazy, especially when I see like internet trolls and that they purposely go on to these things to be annoyed. I'm like, you're actually just annoying yourself. Like, so if there's anyone online who annoys you or triggers you, mute them if you can't unfollow them. I've muted so many people, and not even because I don't like them as a person. I just don't like the message they give out. And it annoys me. So it's like, well, what's the point in having this on my feed? Like, just cut it out. I'm the one annoying myself. They can do whatever they want. No one online has anything that they need to do for someone else. They are completely entitled to express whatever they want online. But if we decide to watch it, that's on us then. Okay? And that's taking responsibility for your own happiness, okay? Another thing is like expressive arts. So things like drawing, music, dancing, collages, free writing, poetry, all of these things, like just things that actually get you a little bit out of your head and more into the present moment. So art is amazing for that. Another thing is connecting with nature. So things like walking barefoot on the grass or the sand, swim, hike, or simply just sit outside on the earth. Look at the trees, look at the flowers, look at the waves, look at anything, and just appreciate the nature around you. That can really get you out of your head thinking, oh my God, my arse looks big today. You're like, wow, trees are pretty awesome. And then the last thing is therapy and support groups. So you could always consider working with a therapist who specializes in body image, self-esteem, or eating disorders, or join a body positive and intuitive eating support group for shared experiences. So these are all the kind of scientifically proven ways to help with body image. Okay, now there's a couple of things I'm going to mention here that are actually just excerpts from my book that I personally found really helped me in my journey. Okay, now the first thing is do it for your body, not to your body. I love this. I love this. Okay. So, whatever path you wish to take and whatever your goals are, when it comes to the approach you wish to take, always remember to do things because you love your body and not because you hate it and want to punish it. Okay. That's a huge shift. To be exercising because you want to look after your body, you're not exercising to punish it. Because I used to do it to punish myself. I used to starve myself Monday to Friday and then binge all weekend to punish myself. So when the shift is from hate to love and appreciation, that is a massive, massive shift in how you'll start seeing yourself as well. Because in my honest opinion, I feel aesthetics, how you look, should be, in most cases, a byproduct of diet and exercise. And unpopular opinion, perhaps, should not be the sole reason why people follow a particular diet or choose to partake in physical exercise. Like something I constantly stress to my clients is the importance of how they're feeling. So when they're doing check-ins like body stats, measurements, weight, if a client is choosing to measure this, photos, all of these things are actually the least important part of their check-in. Like I want to know, how are they feeling overall? How are they managing their stress? Are they enjoying their training? Are they getting out for walks regularly in the fresh air? How is their sleep? How is their nutrition? How are their relationships? How is their work-life balance? Are they taking time to fill their own cup and look after themselves? Because lo and behold, when people start focusing on these things and you start to enjoy the process, the aesthetics naturally follows, but you actually start viewing yourself in a better light, not because of how you're looking, but how you're feeling, which is so important. Okay. Like I used to view exercise as punishment. So like a bold weekend would equate to restricting myself all week and performing grueling amounts of cardio to make up for it. So like I reiterate, approaching things from a place of love will always trump approaching things from a place of hate. And I promise you then, exercise and an overall healthier life does not need to be a constant uphill battle. So one more thing I'm going to touch on here before I talk about the energetic side of things. This is one of the first blogs I ever wrote, actually, and I called it Self-Love, Self-Care, and Six Packs. So I said, oh, look, another person ranting on about self-love and how your body is a temple, so we can all cue the eye roll and scoff, right? But what if instead of hating your body for all the things you wish it did and didn't do, you took a step back and said, well, shit, you do a lot of pretty awesome stuff every damn day, like keep me alive, so maybe I should start looking after you. Like as you would do for your child, your sister, your dog, your niece, your nephew. Like why do we treat everyone else we love with such an open heart, but we can't do it for ourselves? Like if I had to take a wild guess, I'm going to call it societal conditioning. Again, women are brought up to believe that they need to put the needs of everyone else ahead of their own in order to be a good partner, a good mother, a good sister, a good daughter. But when I talk about self-love, which I discuss in depth throughout the book and in the course, because it is the center of what I'm talking about in my method, okay? I'm not talking about the movement that entails loving every aspect of yourself just as you are. the movement that tells people once again how to feel. It is okay to want to change yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. In fact, I actually feel if we're not working on these areas of life continuously, that is where suffering starts. But what I am talking about, though, is a kind of self-love where you start really bonding with yourself, loving yourself, trusting yourself, and caring about yourself. Like, you bring your child to the doctor as soon as they show the slightest symptom. You run to the side of someone you love when they aren't well, mentally or physically. And yet, what do we do for ourselves when we don't feel too good? We never run to our own sides, give ourselves a hug, and tell ourselves it's going to be okay. There is an overarching glorification of withstanding suffering in society today, as if not complaining and putting up with other people's bullshit is something that you should actually get a medal for, because God forbid you upset someone. So, like, maybe if we did start loving ourselves a little bit more and really worked hard in that self-love, so journaling, exercising, eating well, meditating, whatever it is from that list above, that makes you feel good, then maybe living a healthier life would naturally be such a chore. And you would do things like eat good, nutritious food, move your body in a way that revitalizes you, stay active, all because you love your body and not because you're punishing it. And this is really, really important, because when it comes to body image, you're never going to have a phenomenal body image, right? Even if you have a fucking six pack and you're Shreddy Krueger, right? But you're starving yourself to get there and you're miserable. I promise you this. I have been there before where I have been shredded. But that didn't always mean that I had a good body image day. Okay? So it's really important to understand that our lifestyle factors and how we're actually treating ourselves plays a massive role in body image, and it is not just about how we look, okay? So I'm going to shift the perspective a little bit for the last few minutes of this podcast, and I'm going to ask you, what if body image struggles aren't just physical or mental, but they are also spiritual? What if the disconnect we feel from our bodies is actually a sign that we're just not really fully present in them? As I said, like, we glorify suffering, pushing through, keep going, don't complain, grind, 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 instead of actually listening to ourselves. Like, body image struggles aren't just psychological, they can also be spiritual hurdles rooted in energetic imbalances. So when we hold on to negative beliefs about our bodies, we create energetic blocks that disrupt the flow of life force energy, or you can call this prana. These blocks can manifest in the body's energy centers or chakras, leading to feelings of disconnection, shame, or self-rejection. So this is taking a different approach to it now. We're actually going to look at how each chakra governs different aspects of our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Because when body image issues arise, they do often correlate with an imbalance in one or several of these key energy centers, okay? So the first one is the root chakra, which is at the base of the spine. And this chakra is tied to safety, grounding, and physical presence. So body image issues related to feeling disconnected from your body, insecure, unworthy, they may stem from blockages in the root chakra. So usually our first two chakras are very heavily influenced by our formative years when we're a child. So how safe did you feel to express your emotions when you were a child? Okay, were you told as a boy, big boys don't cry, oh, good girls don't cry, they're good, and be a good girl, like, again, suppressing feelings, okay? And this can cause blockages in these lower chakras that then can come up as body image issues when we're older, okay? So healing practices for this are like things like grounding yourself with barefoot walking, working with like red crystals, affirmations like I am safe, I belong in this body, or again, I'm going to keep saying energy healing, Reiki, etc. The next one then is your sacral chakra. So this is located in the lower abdomen, and this chakra is linked to pleasure, creativity, and self-acceptance. So if you struggle with body shame, feeling undesirable, or suppressing joy and movement, you may be experiencing a block in your sacral chakra. And this one's very linked to actual fertility and stuff like that as well. So things that can help with this are like engaging in creative expression, working with crystals that are more of an orange color, like dancing, all of these things that inspire a bit of creativity and a bit of movement. They can be absolutely phenomenal ways of working with your sacral chakra and saying to yourself, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough. More than enough, I would say, in a good way. Then we move up to the solar plexus. So this is located in the upper abdomen, and this chakra governs self-worth, confidence, and personal power. So if you're feeling a bit disempowered by societal beauty standards or unworthy because of your appearance, there may be a blockage in this chakra. So things that are really, really good for solar plexus are like breath work, wearing yellow, working with yellow crystals, or I am strong, radiant, and whole. I am empowered. All of these things. Solar plexus is I like to call it the I'm gonna get shit done kind of chakra. Because the solar plexus is very driven. This is where, you get like your kind of your motivation and your inspiration to kind of do things. And I find solar plexus very, very powerful chakra to work with, especially if you're someone who is actually struggling with motivation in general. Could be something related to your solar plexus. And then the other one is our heart chakra, like obviously located at the center of the chest. The heart chakra is all about compassion, self-love, emotional healing. So if you're feeling disconnected from your body, or you hold resentment towards or struggle with self-acceptance, then there may be a blockage in your heart chakra. Like healing practices with this are all about self-compassion. Heart opening yoga poses are beautiful for this, or working with rose quartz. I love and accept myself as a mantra is absolutely powerful. I remember having like a burst open of my heart chakra after my level 2 Reiki. I was doing a lot of mantras that were working with the heart chakra. And oh my God, like when that blockage went, it was amazing, but so powerful, like so powerful. So I mentioned Reiki, okay? If you don't know what Reiki is, it is a form of energy healing that can help release stored emotions and trauma in the body that contribute to negative body image. It can help with negative body image. Usually, though, what Reiki does is, as opposed to I go to the doctor, I take a pill for the symptoms, Reiki gets to the root of the problem. So you might come saying, oh, I have like a sore shoulder. I had a client there last week and she came to me and she was having pain in her left shoulder. And that shoulder is all related to like suppressed rage. And she was like, yes. But it took us so long to get to this. Like she didn't come to me going, I have suppressed rage. No, she was coming with like night kind of terrors and stuff like that. And this is kind of how Reiki works. It's like, okay, you come with this thing that you think is the issue, but actually it brings you to the underlying thing. So usually it's a body image thing, but what's underneath the body image thing, which is really, really interesting. So a Reiki session can unblock stagnant energy in the chakras associated with self-worth. It can soothe anxiety and self-judgment through deep relaxation. And it can help reprogram limiting beliefs about the body by channeling love, healing energy, and sometimes just bringing up the shit that you need to deal with, right? I'm going to call a spade a spade. Everyone thinks a healing journey is this linear thing that's just all love and light because it's all they see on the aesthetic side of things on social media. But the reality is, if you really want to embark on a healing journey, then you need to be ready to deal with the shit that needs to come up in order to clear, okay? So again, the thing is, we need to shift from appearance to presence, okay? So like I said before, we're shifting from the external to the internal, the sensations. This shift is more about actually from appearance to actually the present moment. So true body acceptance isn't just about like liking what you see in the mirror. It's about feeling at home in your body as a vessel for your spirit. Like when we shift from seeing our bodies as objects to feeling our bodies as sacred, energetic beings, we transcend the limitations of body image struggles. So by working with our energy field through, say, chakra healing, Reiki, breathwork, movement, yoga, like we can release old wounds, reclaim our inner power, and truly embody the divine essence within. Your body is not just something to be looked at, it is a sacred home, a conduit of energy, and a vessel of light. And the more you nurture your energy physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the more you will experience the radiance that has always, always been within you, because you don't need to get it from any external things or people or anything. Like, you have it all there. You just need to realize it's there. So I will park it there today. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please give me a follow, give me a rating. Please share this with your friends, with your family, share it on social media, even better, and tag me, please. If you have any questions, please let me know. My DMs are always open. And yeah, I hope this managed to shed some light on a very, very big topic, and have a wonderful day.